Are you guys picking up what I'm sensing here? Jealousy. No dancing, no music, no alcohol. I'm getting culty vibes. Are you getting small town culty vibes? Rules are meant to be broken. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. I'm V, your host, and we're going to be diving into a bunch of Reddit stories. Now, what is your perspective on spoiling? I think when I think of spoiling, I love just, treating my loved ones to something nice or doing something nice for them. Even an act of service, I think is a way of showing love. Like that's spoiling them, right? And it's usually a good thing. But there's also the other side of spoiling. There's spoiled rotten. And that's exactly what some of these OPs may be experiencing for themselves or seeing in others. Let's get into today's first story. Our first story is from the subreddit AITH. Am I the a hole for telling my sister that my wife isn't spoiled? Her husband just doesn't like her. Throwaway/fake names. I, 34-year-old male, am married to the love of my life, Michelle, 31-year-old female, and have been with her for 13 years, married for 11. My wife is chronically ill, and as soon as it was financially feasible, I suggested she quit her job and stay at home. Since then, I've become quite successful in my career, and I've encouraged her to get out of the house and to pursue the hobbies we didn't have money for, and that she didn't have time or energy for. We are incredibly happy with the direction our life is going, and Michelle's mental and physical health has never been better. We split the household chores in accordance of how Michelle's feeling. On her good days, she'll usually do just about everything that needs done before I'm even home. But on those occasions where her illness is acting up, a lot of it falls on me. I honestly don't mind. There isn't a whole lot for us to do on a day to day basis besides laundry, dishes, cooking, and tending to the dogs. We have a housekeeper who comes once a week and does most of the major stuff. I enjoy cooking and typically only have maybe an hour's worth of stuff on the days she can't do anything. I also just generally like to spoil her. I bring her home gifts and trinkets. I encourage and financially support her hobbies. I take her on 2 weekly dates, vacations. I like seeing her happy. My sister, Karen, cannot wrap her head around this concept. Her husband, Bill, works in the same industry as me, making similar money. However, Bill does not treat Karen as I treat Michelle. Quick pause here, guys. Oh my gosh. Oh, OP, it's so sweet that you treat your wife the way that you do. Like the way it's painted, I would almost say very fairy tale like, but more just so truly loving. Oh, I can feel the love ooze out of your words. It's so sweet. I think illnesses in relationships, it can be really tough. I think depending on the seriousness and what the couple's dealing with, sometimes it definitely puts a strain on the relationship, but then sometimes it also really strengthens it, depending on how the couple chooses to go about it. I just think it is so heartfelt and cute. And Michelle, is it that your wife, OP? Good for her. Hubby just went straight up and said, honey, quit your job, stay at home, pursue those things that you've always wanted to do and didn't have the energy for. We're good. We're a team. Like, I'm good with my job where we are. Like, I just love that. It just feels so healthy, which in the realm of Reddit stories and things that people share about themselves on the internet isn't a common occurrence. It's so cute. So I had to just take a note on that. But OP says, Bill won't let Karen be a stay at home wife. She frequently mentions how he rarely takes her on dates or brings her home flowers or gifts, how he isn't generous with his money, and how it should be their money. Despite this, she's always criticized my wife for being spoiled. Anytime I mention my wife and what she happens to be up to that day, example, in a cooking class, golfing, painting, my sister gets huffy and makes comments about how lucky my wife must consider herself and how surprised she is that my wife stays busy. Oof. Are you guys picking up what I'm sensing here? Jealousy. I I think it's pretty obvious here that first off, OP, I don't think your sister Karen is very happy in her marriage. It's one thing, I'm not saying that every couple needs to do the exact same thing, to each their own, but your sister Karen's not happy. I think she should really be taking up with Bill. It's husband's problem, not the brother's problem. I get that maybe you want to vent sometimes, but I think it's kind of awkward that you're complaining to your brother, oh, my husband never takes me out on dates. He never gets me anything. Have you tried talking to your husband about it? Like, Has sister tried that? Because now I feel like it's gonna cause friction. I'm sensing that something big's gonna go down because now imagine you're in an unhappy relationship and then you just see your brother and your sister-in-law just in this very happy, blissful relationship where she's golfing, she's painting, she's just enjoying life while also recovering from her illness. And then you look at your husband, you're like, that could be us. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that Old Spice commercial. It's like, look at your man. Now look at me. Now look at your man. And the whole ad basically shows like, I think it's like at some point it was like a very conventional, attractive, man riding a horse, right? And he's supposed to look like, oh, wow, like awesome, whatever. And the idea is that the commercial watcher or us, we would look at it and then it's like we look at our man and we're supposed to be like, could be me, but it's not. So it's giving very much that vibe. What are your thoughts so far? So we got sister, sister's husband, OP and his wife.
Um, Good for OP and I guess OP's wife.
Yeah.
And it seems that the sister is just jealous, but at this point, I don't know. Is there anything more to be added to the story?
Yep. So here comes the moment where OP is going to be like, okay, maybe I'm the a-hole. OP says, if I mention ever having to do a single bit of housework, Karen talks about how selfish Michelle is for not doing her part and how cooking breakfast was the least my wife could do. If I tell my mother about the emerald earrings I bought Michelle, the spa day I sent her on, or the new recipe I was making for her tomorrow, Karen would make comments about how our relationship isn't equal and that I'm being taken advantage of. Recently, at a family dinner that neither Bill nor my wife were attending, I casually mentioned to my mom how after dinner I needed to run a load of laundry so I'd have clean pants for work the next day. My wife was having a bad flare up and had been pretty much confined to the couch. My sister scoffed and loudly said, quote, if she wasn't so spoiled, you wouldn't be coming home to a bunch of chores. I responded with, my wife isn't spoiled. Your husband just doesn't like you. And asked her why she's forced to work if her husband makes as much as me. She was pissed, my parents were irritated, and I was asked to leave the dinner. My sister has sent me texts calling me names, and my mother has reached out saying that was insensitive and asking me to apologize. Am I the a-hole? Alrighty, in our first story, it's debatable whether or not sister's husband is really that into her. But if you're really into Reddit stories and stories like this, don't forget to hit like on this video and subscribe, guys, to the channel. It really helps a lot. Thanks. OP. You knew what you were doing when you said that. See, I think you called out exactly what the core problem is, which is sister needs a shout out because she's just jealous, clearly. Because she's not taking up her problems with Bill, her husband, but she has all the beef to do with your wife. At this point, your wife is the center of her world, like where she's directing all this negative energy. Because her wife is having, I guess, quote unquote, the life that she can't have. She wants to be a stay at home mom. She wants to be spoiled. She wants a spa day. She wants these weekly dates, and she's not getting it from her mans. So she's going to take it up with you, her brother. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to go with you are not the a-hole. Because even though you came for the jugular and you went straight to your husband doesn't even like you and that's your problem, it's harsh. But I think it's also a little bit of a wake-up call. Like, it's a mean thing to say, but between siblings, I feel like there's a degree where you allow some harshness. So I'm going to let it fly as you said what needed to be said because sister is not taking the hints. Sister is not staying in her lane. And you know what? You guys are siblings. So only because you guys are siblings am I letting this comment slide. What's your verdict?
Um, I think I'm maybe less lenient on this.
Yeah?
I would say that OP is a little bit of an a-hole here.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
didn't.
fair.
I don't think that that comment was necessary
Really?
because it's honestly like I think I don't think anyone's arguing here that OP's sister is an a-hole for sure because
Oh,
she
like you mean no one's arguing against like
yeah no
okay, yeah.
one yeah no one's arguing against that, so I can see that, but at the same time I wouldn't then excuse OP's actions and kind of pointing it out because it's your own relationship, right? Like
Yeah.
everyone's an adult. They seem, I guess the OP seems to be happy in the relationship he's having with his wife,
Mhm.
and I don't think it's right for his sister to stick her nose into that and comment about it. At the same time, yeah, I think he was probably frustrated and just kind of, I don't want to say snapped, but blurted it out, perhaps without thinking much about it or about the consequences. Because at the same time, I
Yeah.
think he ended up doing kind of the same thing, where
Yeah.
he jumped to conclusion, and
Yep.
so I would say,
You think he went too far?
I don't think it's the maybe worst thing given what his sister said,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I think it would have been better off without saying that.
What do you think what would you have suggested he say instead?
It's just simply, like, you shouldn't be commenting on this. This is our relationship. I'm aware of this, and we're okay. Or whatever, whatever, something among those lines. I don't think the extra
Yeah.
jab is necessary there.
Well, I agree with you. I think if you were a reasonable person in this instance, I would go with M, my fiance, who's behind the camera here. I would go with your point of view. Like, I think that's a more mature way to go about it. But I'm just pissed for OP and his wife because they are dealing with a whole chronic issue thing, or not issue, illness, right? And to have this on top, like, I feel like truly I get the vibe that they're trying to make the best of things in their own way and they're trying to be happy. And then sister's just kind of poking at them. Like, it's just always has something to say. And it's true, guys. I feel like I would go the vindictive route. I'd be like, well, you know what? Maybe you should take up with your husband because he doesn't seem to like you very much. Or maybe you got issues with your husband and you're just dumping on me. So, okay, I will change my mind. I think I would agree with you. Definitely, I would say soft a hole here. Soft a hole because did you go too far? Yes, you did, OP. You went for the jugular. But I'm also very pissed for you. So, emotionally, I'm kind of leaning towards slightly more leniency for you. Although I have two questions about the story. One, has sister tried to talk to her husband at all? Like, it just seems like every single time she's comparing her relationship to her brother's, which is a very weird comparison to have. It just feels like she's frustrated that someone else is in a happier place. And if I were her, I think I'd be sad about my own relationship, but I would just be happy that another family member, like my brother and his wife, are at least in a better place. Like I would feel like that's a separate issue. And the second thing is, OP, how close are you with your family that you guys are discussing your laundry schedule? Like, I know some of these things sometimes will pop up in conversation, but you're telling me, do you necessarily need to overshare? I think you're oversharing a little bit on what you do for your wife. I think it's great that you want to talk about it, but knowing how your sister is and comments she's made, I feel like you're making things worse kind of by constantly bringing up, oh, the emerald earrings you bought for your wife, the spa day you got for her, oh, how you have to do laundry the one day. Like, how granular are your conversations getting? Like, I feel like it's not helping. I don't think it's your fault, but I think it's feeding into the sister's kind of like anger. Do you agree? Like,
Yeah,
I just
I think that's a good point you mentioned here. I would say that the OP probably should not be doing that. It's
like
just, yeah, I agree. I don't think it helps at all.
you're not horrible for doing it. It's almost like you might want to be a little bit more tactful. Just to not, I don't know, irritate the family piece a little bit. I don't know, like just to maintain a little bit of it. But let's see what some of the comments say. First comment from Undead Armoire. Not they hope. It's lovely to see a couple that manages chronic illness so well. She doesn't slack off on her good days, and you accept that she's not slacking off when she has it bad. The fact that you two just like making each other happy is delightful to see. Oh, I agree. Your sister's absolutely jealous and wants to prove your marriage is the weird one so she doesn't have to feel bad about hers. Keep being the Gomez to your Morticia. Good man. Oh, I like that comparison. They do give off that vibe. That's so cute. Oh, I feel really bad for the sister in a way, though, because I think her jealousy does stem from the fact that she's just so unhappy in her own relationship. I I think she's kind of coping. It's kind of sad. Like, okay, maybe talk to her and just, keep it real with her as a sibling and say, "Look, I don't appreciate your comments about my relationship because honestly, it doesn't concern you. It's between me and my wife. But furthermore, like if you want to talk about your own relationship and you want advice on that or you want to have a conversation about that, I'm open to it. Maybe that way kind of bridges some of the negative feelings for a more peaceful conversation." Another comment from Antique Confidence. Not Dale for being honest. She's just jealous that you treat your wife the way she wants her husband to treat her. What I don't understand is why they're mad at you when she's the one constantly talking shit about your wife. Maybe they need to step back and think about why they're okay with how your sister speaks to you, but not okay with what you said. Oh, I take it back. I take it back. Everything I said. Not the a-hole. I'm switching teams, guys. Only because I think the comment brought up a good point here is that now the parents, the sister, they're all asking OP that, well, they're telling OP, you got to apologize, you were being insensitive. But here's my question. How often does OP have to sit through these dinners or these talks where sister is constantly saying negative things about the wife? Like, oh, she's lazy or she's not fulfilling her duties of a wife. She's not this, she's not that. And kind of whispering all these things into the brother's ears. Like, why are the parents okay with that? And why is the rest of the family okay with that? But the one time OP calls it out for what it is, which is pipe down, you're just projecting. That's when things are, oh, you need to leave now. Like OP gets kicked out from the family dinner. That's kind of unfair. I think I'm leaning now towards not the a-hole just because I feel like given how often this must have happened, I think this was the last straw for OP. Have you changed your mind or are you still in the boat?
I'm still in the same boat.
I think this is also fair. I think it could be seen both ways. But I don't know. I picked this first story, guys, because to be honest, it's kind of fairy tale like. Okay, not the sister. I mean, I guess nasty sister can also be considered part of a fairy tale like, but I just love the relationship between OP and his wife so much because they feel like a strong couple from what I can see. Now, our next story is our wild pick. I noticed that you guys like the suggestion of the little roar there I put in, which was a comment left by you guys. So I'm going to keep it. This one is from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for sending my sister flowers anonymously and making her husband upset? I, male, 37 years old, have always been close to my sister, female, 35 years old. We talk regularly, and during one such conversation, she told me she's been feeling really depressed and overwhelmed lately. As we were talking, I could tell she was holding back tears. So I decided to do something nice for her. I contacted a local florist and put in an order for some flowers. I had them delivered to my sister's place of employment with a note reading, quote, thinking of you. A few hours later, the florist called me up and told me a man has been calling them nonstop and demanding they tell him who sent his wife flowers. They tried to explain that it was against their policy to reveal that information, but the man wouldn't take no for an answer. Apparently, he became so aggressive and threatening over the phone, the shop called me up and asked my permission to reveal the name of the sender to the man being my brother in law. It turns out my sister had called her husband and thanked him for the flowers. OP. OP. I know you were trying to be nice to send flowers, but when the flowers were sent, did you not put your name? I don't like it's such a nice gesture that I want to give you the benefit of the doubt that you honestly forgot about putting your name or the florist forgot to put your name in. But imagine this. And just imagine someone sends your partner mysterious flowers thinking of you at work. I, the- I okay, I'm kind of OP, are you the a-hole? I feel like I'm leaning towards you're the a-hole because very thoughtful gift, but depending on what's going on here, why your brother-in-law is freaking out over the flowers, you might be an a-hole. I'm just okay. If someone sent me flowers at work with thinking of you, a little card that says think of you, it's not signed. Who do you think would like what's your guess? What's going through your mind?
Do you have a secret admirer
Yeah, right? If the
or
opposite happened,
not so secret admirer that
like I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Maybe this is me overreacting, but I would immediately if someone sent M flowers at work, My first thing is, so, who's your work wife? You got a work wife I need to know about? You got a secret or, as you said, not so secret admirer I need to know about? Hmm? Hmm? So, I'm hoping this is like a maybe like a I was gonna say happy accident. This is not a happy accident. This is a oopsie moment, like just a coincidence that happened to spiral into like a bigger situation. But oh hey, Opie says, it turns out my sister had called her husband and thanked him for the flowers. He told her he hadn't sent any flowers and accused her of having an affair. He believed her affair partner had sent them to her, which is why he called the florist like a lunatic demanding names. Now my sister's more depressed than ever, and she's been fighting with my brother in law ever since. My friends think I should have included my name on the card. Had I done that, they say, this blowup would have never happened. I say it's my brother in law to blame, as he was the one who can't control his temper. So, Reddit, am I the a hole? I never thought I would say this, but OP, you kind of are the a hole for sending your sister flowers. It's your sister. You couldn't have said, hey, sis, like, just wanted to make you feel better. Hope these flowers make your day pop. Like, no. Why did you pick this card? Why didn't you put your name? I have so many questions. See, I've never actually purchased like an order of like a curated bouquet or flowers to someone. So I'm not sure. When you buy something like that, do you tell do you have to mention specifically to the florist, "Hey, put my name there," or is it something where you buy it and then you give them address and they just kind of take care of the rest? Like, how involved are customers when booking flowers?
I'm sure you can specify a note that you want to leave, or you can maybe send it without a note.
So when you send a note, do they ask you? Do florists typically ask you if you want to sign it or like write anything else in it, or do they just go, "Okay, you picked thinking of you. Okay, I'm just gonna send that," like with no name?
Usually, I think you just put a name. I think it's normal to ask for a note.
Like I'm trying to figure out what is the common courtesy. Like, do people typically send flower bouquets? Like when they do send it, do you know who it's from, or do people just what is the social etiquette? Do people just send flowers to each other without putting names?
I don't know what the etiquette is, but I would say you probably want to put your name on it, or
Right?
at least know that it's coming from your sibling, I guess.
Like I'm just thinking about the most basic, at least in the US, right? One of the first things you learn in school is write your name. Write your name on everything. Sign everything. And even as an adult, it's always you write an email, you type an email, send a name. The only thing that where it doesn't apply is like texting, I think. But Obi, I'm not sensing that you did this by accident. I'm sensing that you did this intentionally. Like OP has not at any point in the story said, oops, forgot to put my name. I think brother in law, did he overreact because he didn't trust his wife? Yes, I think he overreacted. But let's get back to the point of the story here. You asked if you're the a hole for sending the flowers anonymously. Yes, you are. I think you are because it was such an avoidable thing. Like if you just sign your name, there would be no drama. Because now your sister, like, just mistakenly thinking it's from her husband, which, right? Married woman gets surprise flowers. Would she not assume it's from her partner? Usually, typically.
Fair assumption to make.
So I think it's kind of I think you kind of suck. Like, husband sucks for completely blowing it out of proportion after talking to his wife and not trusting her. Like, yeah, is he a hole? Yeah, I think he kind of sucks too. But Opie, why did you do this? You made this nice gesture into a more stressful thing. Because didn't you say you sent your sister flowers to make her less stressed? If anything, I think your flowers is now making her more stressed. My sister, if you are listening to this podcast, please, if you ever send me flowers, please sign your name. Please. Because you know what it is? I'll be honest, if I got mystery flowers and then I called M and I was like, oh, babe, did you send me flowers? And he's like, no. What are you talking about? What flowers? My first thing isn't, oh, cute. I have a secret admirer. My thriller movie loving mind would literally go straight to Law and Order SVU. Dun, dun. Like, oh my God, do I have a creeper? Like, I really don't think my mind would not go to, oh my God, so innocent, so sweet. There's a secret admirer. I would literally go, oh my God, that's so creepy. Why would someone I don't know send me flowers? That's freaky. So this is stressful. I don't know why flowers are stressing me out here, but OP, come on. Moral of the story, put your name. Let's see what some of the comments say. First comment from username, even if husband gently or kindly said it wasn't him, where does that leave her? Calling everyone she knows, not knowing who sent them, begging the florist to tell her so she can say thank you, eventually calling you to vent and about how she got these flowers and she doesn't know from whom so that you can be like, quote, surprise, I'm the best. Maybe she would feel like it was a stalker or someone with a crush on her and feel really uncomfortable. I'm assuming you know your brother in law and this isn't 100% out of character. But even if he isn't usually prone to rage, most people would at least feel uncomfortable or somewhat suspicious. Right? I'm glad someone said the stalker thing because sometimes, guys, I feel like, am I just living with a paranoid mindset? Or because in the movies, when you think of, oh, like the shows where boy or partner, whoever, right, sends a secret love note, doesn't sign it, like it's cute in the movies. In the movies. But in real life, it's creepy as heck. Like, imagine someone sends you an anonymous love note and you don't know who it is. You're just like, please, no. It's creepy. See, love notes and romantic gestures are only cute when they are returned. That's my philosophy. What's your verdict?
He's the a-hole.
OP?
Yeah. The OP is the a-hole. And I think it's just key thing there is that the flowers were anonymous. Earlier you
Yes.
mentioned that, I think you maybe misspoke a little bit, that you mentioned that OP is the a-hole for sending the flowers.
Oh,
I don't
no.
think that's what you meant,
I
right?
meant like OP was the a-hole for sending flowers anonymously.
Yeah.
Keyword,
Yeah.
anonymously. But why leave the name out? I'm just like, and why pick the card thinking of you? I, thinking of you? Who is thinking of me? With love, something like that. But like of all things, you couldn't have picked something like, hope you're having a great day. Instead, it's thinking of you. Ay, yeah. Oy vey, oy vey. Another comment from Optimal Bag. I'm confused why you didn't just put your name. Like, WTF, is it a weird secret you sent your sister flowers? Not saying the husband's response was 100% appropriate, but you made a sweet gesture into a weird drama because you weirdly and anonymously sent her flowers with thinking of you. Just send a, hey, sis, here are some flowers because I've been thinking of you and go about your day. We're on the same wavelength. Me and Reddit crowd are on the same wavelength today. My verdict is the same as this post. Everyone sucks. The husband sucks for the overreaction. But to be honest, some of it was warranted, depending on how badly or moderately he overreacted. But OP for sure. Yeah. Just sign your name, dude. I mean, I wouldn't mind if my secret, not so secret admirer sent me flowers. If it came from one person only. Hint, hint. What? Why are you laughing?
I don't know. Why were you laughing?
I don't know. I wouldn't be, I guess I would be a little bit surprised if like flowers showed up. Oh, although, speaking of flowers, I love the trend where people aren't doing just flowers anymore. Some people like do really nice bouquets or whatever, right? Or they make their own Trader Joe's flower bouquets. But now I've seen ones where people make plushy bouquets, chicken nugget bouquets. Like people stick the chicken nuggets on a
Yeah, I don't know
stem.
about that.
I feel like it's not very sanitary, but I like the creativity with it. It's a fun idea. Have you guys ever received flowers or given flowers to someone else? Comment below. Let me know what was your mindset. Did you include a note? Did you sign it? Did you not sign it? Let me know. Our next story is from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for turning down $2,000 and essentially excluding my family from my wedding? My fiance, 31 years old, and I, 26 years old, have been together for 5 years and engaged for 3. We set a wedding date but had to postpone due to other financial responsibilities. We now have set a date for June 2025. We had a difficult time finding a venue, so the second we did, we made a deposit and set the date in stone. The date is what is the biggest issue with my family. So, for context, my family's extremely religious. I grew up in the religion, and the second I turned 18, I left it. I live in the same town as my family and have not wanted to cut all ties, so I try to be as respectful of their beliefs as I can. They are against things like all jewelry, even wedding bands, strapless dresses, and anything immodest, and so on. Dancing, music, and alcohol are also evil to them. basically all aspects of a wedding reception. I've even had emotional moments knowing that I will never have a father daughter dance because my dad is so against it. OP, quick question. Perchance, are you maybe living in a cult town? I'm just I, I've never heard of religion where you can't like no jewelry, no wedding bands, no strapless dresses. Okay, immodesty thing that's common in a lot of different religions, so I'm not surprised. But no dancing, no music, no alcohol. What are you gonna do at the wedding? Are you all just gonna sit in silence? Like what? What is a wedding with no dancing, no music? Like alcohol depends on the couple, but like, do you sit in silence? No music? Music is evil? What? Very interesting. I'm getting culty vibes. Are you getting small town culty vibes?
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it seems a bit extreme. The no dancing, no music. Um,
A tad? A tad?
yeah.
OP says, anyways, due to our schedule and many of our guests' schedule, our wedding will be on Saturday, which is my family's religious day. I've also paid the venue extra to reserve Sunday for cleanup so that people can return to work by Monday. I've gotten grief about this from all of my family, including my sisters, because they feel that this is breaking their religious day. This has been very irritating, and one sister has been manipulative about it, but I got through it and thought that they have to accepted it. Oh, and thought that they have accepted it. Well, that was not at all the case. I will also point out that our wedding is entirely on my fiance and I financially, and it is possible, but definitely a strain. I got the invitations made and sent, and I received a text from my father. He asked, is there any way I could ask you to change the date to Sunday? I responded, I'm sorry, but no. To which he replied, even for $2,000? I took this extremely offensively at first, like he was bribing me to change my wedding date, that he's able and willing to help financially, but only if it aligns with him. After cooling down, I gave a very diplomatic response telling him that I've already paid for the venue and this would not be possible. I also explained that I understand my family's beliefs and I know that they will not be able to help with setup or anything and will be there only for the ceremony as I expect them to leave before the reception. I also told him that he could give a financial gift at any time for a wedding or honeymoon on the fund I set up. Quite honestly, I do not want any of my family at the reception because they will be uncomfortable and judging everyone the entire time. So, am I the a hole for turning down $2,000? It would help immensely. Should my family be welcome at my reception? Should I disinvite them all together? Whew, that's a lot of questions, OP. All right, let's talk about this. I don't think you're the a hole for turning down 2,000 because it's your choice, right? Your choice on whether or not you want to accommodate the family in exchange for 2,000 bucks. I agree with you that it's a little bit uncomfortable that your dad has the ability to, it seems, and well, not the willingness to though, to help fund your wedding, but only if you switch the date to align with what he wants. Like that feels a little bit transaction-y, which I guess it is. And in regards to your question of should your family be welcome, I think it's really up to you. Personally, I would say no, but only if you're ready to cut off contact. Because otherwise, you're still living in the same small town with your family. It's going to be very uncomfortable trying to navigate around them if you still live that close. Like it's emotionally, it's going to be really hard. But at the same time, I would say at your wedding, you want someone who's actually going to celebrate you and your fiance, you bride and groom, and not cause you more stress. So I think that's up to you. But personally, I would kind of probably not. And then you asked, should I disinvite them all together? Depends. Are you ready to cut off contact? Because uninviting someone from the reception versus uninviting them all together from the wedding, I think is on different levels. What do you think?
I don't know.
It's dicey.
It is tough.
Do you think OP's a hole in any way? Like, do you think they're in the wrong at all?
I don't know about a hole, but given, I guess, OP's family's religious beliefs are,
Hmm.
and I guess that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Religious beliefs, then maybe potentially moving the wedding. I mean, that's something I can, critique the OP on. Is he the a hole for it? I wouldn't say so personally. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. It's kind of it's a bit hard for me to navigate this. I don't know where. I don't see OP as being an a hole. At the same time, given the family's religious beliefs, I don't really see them as being the a hole, except maybe for the kind of the bribing part. That
Yeah.
comes off kind of weird.
Yeah, it's just it's almost like I think it's one thing if father just asks, "Is there any way you can change the date?" But the fact that he said, "What about if I give you 2,000?" It comes off very weird.
Yeah,
Like it's just very transactiony, and I don't know. My opinion has always been when it comes to weddings, bride and groom should do what they want and they're comfortable with. I think, oh, but you kind of already made your choice already on excluding your family because you knew what their beliefs were. You knew what their like when their holiday was. So it's not like OP wasn't in the know and OP still booked that date because of the venue and how things were. Like even with wedding, I think it's hard too when you're trying to set a venue because man, those things book up so fast. Like there is a wait list for it, the whole shebang, and depending on the date you pick, it can be way more expensive or cheaper, even in the same month. So I get that. I think you kind of already made the choice when the minute you book the day. And I don't even think it's like a hole or not a hole this like situation. It's more like a what do you want to do situation as the bride. Does that make sense? Like it boils down to what do you and your fiance want? I think it's rough though, because I will say a consequence of your actions may be that, yeah, part of your family might not sit at the reception. They might not even show up for the ceremony. They might not even be there. And is that something you can live with? That's for you to decide. I will say though, I did attend a wedding where the groom side attended just the ceremony, stayed, left early, like the entire like one side of the family left early, and it was very obvious and awkward. And not that I don't think it ruined the atmosphere for the rest of the guests, but I think if anything, the bride and groom felt it most. Because when you look at a room and like a group of people just up and leave in the middle of a party, it's very noticeable. And it might make you feel some sort of way. So I would just keep that in mind if that's what you want to do. Let's see what some of the comments say. First comment from Pamela on the go. I don't think people appreciate how hard it is when your family's part of a cult. Well, okay, I wasn't the only one thinking it. Commenter says, no dancing or moderate imbibing? What the heck is that imbibing? Moderate imbibing. It's not much of a party now, is it? You are just trying to have them present for the ceremony while still having a fun reception so you don't burn whatever bit of relationship you have left with them to the ground. I think turning down the money was the right decision, not the whole. Yep, I agree. Another comment from me, myself, and I. Dancing and jewelry are sinful, but bribery is fine. Wait, that's a really good point. That's so funny. That's so funny. In replies to this comment, this should be top answer. LMAO. Wait, huh? Okay, I get the immodesty thing. Like I don't agree with it, but I understand how a lot of religions will say like immodesty is a big issue that they are against, whatever, right? But dancing, uh, music, huh? But jewelry? What did jewelry do? You know what I mean? Jewelry is an object. It's not a behavior. It's not a thing. So I'm surprised that it's mounted on the same level of evil as immodesty, dancing, and music. But bribery, no, 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 no. Bribery is okay. We're good with bribery here. I am dead. Oh, that's a good point. Another comment from Jersey Girl. Not they whole, have the wedding you want. And if they feel they can't attend because of certain factors, that's their choice. But have the wedding you want. I agree. My verdict, stamping it down, not the a-hole. What do you think?
I agree.
I'm very curious what religion or cult, OP, or what town this is as well, because it seems so strict.
Yeah, it definitely seems a bit strange.
Music is evil, but bribery is fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling that the OP's family are kind of picking and choosing kind of
Mhm.
what favors them.
See, I don't know how how flexible people tend to be generally with religion. For me, I I'll admit, I think I'm very much when it comes to my lifestyle, my culture, I'm picky too. But not in a sense of at least not to the level of, music. No, but oh wow, bribery, yes. More in the sense of, look, if like for example, I know certain holidays are very important to my parents, right? My parents are Buddhists and certain holidays are very important to them. With our relationship, I would try to avoid, like, if I wanted to host, say, a party or something, I would try to avoid their religious practices if possible. I think that's typical, but I wouldn't go so far as, say, for example, for whatever reason, my parents said, "We don't allow any music." Am I going to be blasting music at our wedding? Yes. Yes, I will. They'll just have to wear earplugs. If they want to come, wear your earplugs. Just because I think sometimes rules are meant to be broken. Rules can bend a little bit. We can be a little bit flexible because at the end of the day, I think rules are meant to what? Keep the peace, keep things in order, help make life worth living. Like make life more vibrant, more colorful, like stress free. Like I think rules serve a purpose, right? And if there comes a time when, you know, maybe there's a little bit conflict with the values, I think it's up to us to decide, okay, maybe I'm going to bend a little bit here. Maybe let's change things up a little bit so that it makes sense. Things make sense. I mean, come on. For whatever reason, I'm imagining a bunch of very stern, stoic people, like on OP's family side, going to the wedding, like sitting in the ceremony, like back straight, pin straight for some weird reason, wearing like all dark or bland clothing, covered up to the nines from the neck to the ankles. No ankles, of course, no ankles showing. And then just sitting there like expressionless. And then what happens when OP wants to do a ceremony? No music? Can you imagine how awkward this is? So all you hear is feet shuffling. Like instead of dun 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 dun, here comes the bride, it's shuffle, 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 shuffle. And it's not as noticeable because there's music, guys, but I think it's really awkward to walk out to nothing, to silence. You know? Is that just me? Like I can't imagine for our wedding, say if we were to do a long ceremony walk, like all you hear is a swish of my dress.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so awkward. I think the music kind of builds the ambiance, the magic, you know? I say this as if I'm a music, like, I don't know, super fan, but my Spotify, like wrapped, Spotify rap thing, I don't even have more than like 17,000 minutes in the whole year listened. So, oh, also Spotify rap recently released their Spotify Wraps summary things where basically I don't know if this is just US or international, but Spotify releases like their annual thing where they compile through their data, whatever artists you listen to the most, and they give you like a little genre, like some kind of fun little factoids for you on what type of music you listen to. So I just imagine this family would be like zero music, nothing to report, 0 minutes listened. Ugh, OP, I hope that you get the wedding that is the one of your dreams. And however you decide to proceed, my heart goes out to you because it is really rough, especially when you're trying to navigate religion, cult, and family. So, best of luck to you. You are not the a-hole. Now, our last story is from the subreddit Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for not playing along with my neighbor to help her calm down her child? So, I get into my building and I'm waiting for the elevator when I see a woman and her child. A boy, no older than 5, coming down the hallway. She was carrying some bags and managing the kid. So I, trying to be nice, asked them what floor they were going to and pushed the button for her. And then all hell broke loose. The boy immediately falls to his knees and starts to scream and cry because he was the one who wanted to push the button to their floor. And I was thinking to myself, why did his mother tell me their floor if she knew that's his thing? It was obvious I was asking for this purpose and not a mere curiosity. And there I was in this tiny elevator watching it all unfold. The mother tried to calm him down, all like, "Oh, don't cry, little one." The lady was just trying to be nice. I don't have kids and I'm not one to judge parents for how they deal with their children's silly tantrums in front of strangers. But I also don't entertain this if I get myself involved somehow. And then the mother said, quote, "Look, She's sorry she pushed the button. Aren't you sorry? She looked at me like she was waiting for me to apologize to the child. And I said, "No, I'm not. Keep me out of this." And then she forgets the crying boy, and her priority was to come at me all like, "What's wrong with you? Can't you see he's a child?" And then we argued back and forth until I got to my floor and left the elevator. My flatmate thinks I came off as if I was reprimanding the mother when I refused to play along, and that's an a-hole behavior. I don't know what to think. Am I the a-hole? Why are you laughing?
I don't know. To me, uh, am I the a-hole here? But to me, it seems this is a fairly easy
Yeah?
take on it.
Okay. On three, we'll both say it. 1, 2, 3. Not the a-hole. You didn't say it.
Yeah,
You're waiting for me to say it.
I didn't have to say it. This is obvious, is it not?
Oh, so you're echoing what I was going to say anyway?
Yeah.
Maybe say it alone on the three. Look, I'm in agreement with you. Okay, when I was looking at the story and I'm thinking, huh, maybe I am the a-hole. I just, this is one of those things. I think there's a phrase for this. I forget. You guys are so good with correcting my phrases. I think last time I gave you guys like honeybees and honeys, attracting honeys, honey with honeybees or something like that. Something horrible. You guys fixed it with flies to honey, which is great.
I'm guessing you still don't know what the phrase is.
I forgot it already. I read the comments, guys. I did read it. Something about, oh, you attract more flies. No, wait, you don't want to attract flies. You attract more honey with flies than vinegar. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Oh, wait, no, I was right the first time. You attract more flies with honey than vinegar, which is kind of weird because I think flies are more attracted to fruit than honey. I've never seen flies into honey, but whatever. The phrase I'm thinking about here is one where, what's that one, guys, where you try to do something nice and instead life decides to just go, F you. I just imagine OP's just standing there. He's just like, oh, look, a woman and her child carrying a lot of bags. Let me help them with this little button push. Next thing you know, the kid is like screaming. I don't know if you guys have ever been in the presence of a child throwing a tantrum. It is horrifying. Think banshee screeching. That's think of the most supernatural movie you've ever watched. Think of the monster. Now picture the monster screaming into your ear. That's how children are, to be honest, when they're throwing a tantrum. They're not very reasonable people. They're creatures. It's just not. It's just, there's
Wait,
no
did you
reason.
say creatures?
Yes.
Oh, come on.
I'm just saying. It's like, I'm scared of little children when they're throwing their tantrums. They're terrifying. They terrify me. But it's just, what can you do? You can't reason with them. And a lot of adults tend to give in. I think that's why a lot of adults just go, you can have whatever you want. Just stop crying. Just stop screaming, please. And so I think not to reprimand or tell someone how to mother their child. But in this one specific case, woman, you are setting a very bad example for your kid. That just because he didn't get what he wants, that now he's entitled to apologies, that the world owes him something, that any stranger owes him something because he didn't get his way. Isn't that a bad lesson to teach?
Yeah, I would say that's the obvious part. At the same time, also the mother bringing OP into this, that to me was okay. Well, now,
So weird.
yeah, it's not my place to say how you should, I guess, raise your kid.
I like how we both have disclaimers.
Right. At the same time, now you're bringing OP into this and making OP apologize. Like, come on,
So uncomfortable.
the entitlement.
Oh, that's the word I'm looking for. Entitlement. It's just like a twofold entitlement for me because I love how she went from focusing on her kid because Opie did a nice thing. Opie didn't have to do this. He didn't have to offer, well, he or she, whoever, like Opie didn't have to offer to push the elevator button. He could have just ignored it and let the elevator door close or whatever and go onto his floor. He's trying to be nice. I really think mom here returned the kindness with, I don't know, drama. Returning kindness was straight up drama. It just comes off so rude, so entitled. It's just nasty. Like, oh, cringe. I'm just Cringing. And then I can't believe the fact that OP's like, and then they spent the whole time going up the elevator. I'm kind of laughing a little bit because it seems comical almost. Like OP's like, let me do this one nice thing. And next thing you know, this lady with a child, the child's still screaming, throwing a tantrum in the background. And the mom's like, how dare you talk to me like that? Blah, blah. What? You are an adult. She's just a child. Go apologize. It's almost comical. You can't make this up. Like, I think this is just real life turned to comic. OP, ignore your flatmate. You may have come off as reprimanding the mother, maybe in some perspective, but I think you were just defending your point. You don't need to apologize just to fit into like the mom's narrative here and her skewed ways of teaching. So, say if someone holds the door for this mom and child, like someone's just kind of opening the door for them, and then the kid throws a tantrum like, "Oh, I wanted to open the door." Does the mom then turn back to the person who opened the door and go, "How apologize. It's okay. It's okay, sweetie. He's going to apologize. She's going to apologize for opening the door for us." What would this apology from OP's perspective be? "I am sorry, little 5-year-old child, for pressing the public elevator door button of the apartment building of which I also live in. When clearly you own the elevator and you own this button." What? Like, what is the life lesson to be learned here? I'm confused.
You know what? The life lesson here is
What?
that shitty parents raise shitty kids.
I think you're right. To be honest, it just straight up.
That's very unfortunate, but sometimes true.
Sometimes true. In this case, very true. First comment from Karmatika, not the a-hole. "This is the funniest shit I've ever seen. Quote, no, leave me out of it. King shit." I don't know why. The story was so silly, guys. Like, this was almost our wild pick. But I wanted to leave us off on a more lighthearted note. Another comment on childish bambina. "Not the a-hole. As a parent, I would never entertain my child behaving in any way like this. By the age of 5, children are able to understand how to be polite when things don't go their way. Also, if it was so routine that her kid has to press the button, the mom should have said that when you asked what floor. Clearly, this isn't a habit for the kid, and to then ask you to stupidly apologize for pushing the button does nothing to teach the child how interacting with neighbors works. Or with anyone else, right? To be honest. Totally not the whole. You were just dealing with a mom who clearly just wanted to get home and put away her shopping when her kid decided to act out, so she took it out on you." I think that was well put. Yeah. And you comment on me calling the kid a creature. This kid is terrifying. This child is terrifying to me. This child has caused, when you think about it retrospectively, this child caused 2 grown adults to immaturely argue about elevator buttons.
Yeah, I personally don't blame the child here.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't blame the child, although I'm disappointed with the child's behavior. Like, come on.
I'm disappointed with mother's behavior because
Oh, yeah.
part of
A-hole is
I think the
mother.
part of the reason why the child is acting this way is because of the mother, to be honest.
Yeah, the parent. I would say so. I think having seen so many kids in my life growing up, like, for example, my sister, nieces, nephews, like a lot of family and cousins having kids of their own, and seeing seeing all the different parenting styles, I've come to the following conclusion: children are scary. That fact will always remain true for me. But I'm not saying that parenting is easy or anything like that. I just think when it comes to something basic like this, sometimes it's not that you have to treat your kids like mini adults, but it's more like you have to start early with having the tough conversations. Like, I think this could be a really good learning point for the kid to just understand, hey, you can't always have your way. And sometimes when someone does something nice for you, the only sensible reaction is to say, thanks, mister, and go on with your life. Like, there's no need to discuss, there's no need to debate about, oh, that's my button, whose button? That's my thing. Clearly, it wasn't the kid's thing. I just think there were so many different ways the adult in the situation, right, could have handled it. And this whole thing just reflects poorly, really poorly on her, to be honest. I mean, the kid's one thing, but her. So, OP, I think, you know what? Kudos to you for not bowing down to pressure and apologizing to the mini 5-year-old elevator tyrant. You did what you had to do. Yes, press those buttons. Well, okay, I'm not saying maliciously press them next time when you see this kid. Like, I imagine OP's just like, ha, got it before you. I'm not encouraging it. I'm just saying it would be pretty funny. Now, those were our stories, and I hope you guys had a good laugh with our last one. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit like on this video and subscribe, guys, for more content like this. If you have topic suggestions or, you want to tell me about how your day's going or which story is your favorite, let me know in the comments also. And if you're listening on Spotify, don't forget to rate me 5 stars. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.